Hi there, it's Sandra, and you are listening to the podcast A Duchess Like Us. Hello, and welcome to episode 21 of A Duchess Like Us, a podcast that reports positively and fairly on Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex. Today, I'm joined by Nelly, my co-host for this episode of the podcast. So, Nelly, would you like to introduce yourself?
I'm Nelly, and tonight I am drinking Pinotage.
That's good.
Yeah,
I'm
man.
drinking 7-Up free. Just a simple little drink.
I'm getting over a head cold, so I need the alcohol, okay? Don't judge me.
Okay, medicinal. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
What else can you say? All right, so hello, everybody. And it has been a very interesting few weeks since the last podcast, and there is loads to talk about tonight. So I think we'll get started. So in the UK and the UK media, with them, there has been so much fallout from the Meghan and Harry interview over the last 4 weeks. I mean, can you believe it? They did the interview at the beginning of March, and it's now the beginning of April, and they're still moaning about it. It's just the UK press is ridiculous. Anyway, they've basically gone into complete denial, and I'm talking about the UK press, about the whole interview, and they just won't accept that they are racist, or that they could be even a little bit racist. They just won't accept it. So what I found interesting about the whole thing was we suddenly got all these black people popping up and stating that the royal family couldn't possibly be racist. So we'll be looking at that later on. Then at the end of March, I think it was the 31st of March, we had reports that was released by the government in response to the Black Lives Matter protests that were here in the UK over the summer. And you probably already know, but this government seems to think that there's no institutional racism or structural racism in the UK. So we all had a good laugh about it, and then we were in despair about it. So again, we're going to talk about that later on today. And then this week on Friday, or last week on Friday, we had the news that Prince Philip, the Duke of Edinburgh, the Queen's husband of 73 years, died at the age of 99, and he was 2 months short of his 100th birthday. And so it's been very interesting with that here in the UK as well. So in today's podcast, we are going to be discussing those three events in more detail. And let's get started.
Let's.
Okay. All right, so let's start with the first one, which is the fallout in the UK from the Meghan and Harry interview with Oprah Winfrey. I can't even say her name, Oprah Winfrey, last month. So as I said before, the UK press and the royal family have basically had a meltdown. As I said earlier, they have gone into complete denial about how they behave and their basic behavior. They just won't accept that they could be racist. They just won't accept it at all. And what we found really interesting in the UK is all of a sudden, these black people are popping up. And I want to call them something, but I won't because I'm being nice tonight. And they are basically popping up and saying, oh my God, no, the royal family can't possibly be racist. What? I mean, I've met them once and they were very nice to me, so they can't possibly be racist. And this is the attitude that they're putting out. And they're working in collusion with the media, who are putting them everywhere with their sycophantic statements, how wonderful the royal family are, etc. But what's even more interesting is these people who are popping up have all got OBEs, MBEs, CBEs, which is all I don't know what you call them, medals of the British Empire, which doesn't exist.
No longer exists.
Hasn't
existed for a very long time. Not since the war. I would say that World War II, decimated the.
Well, when did India left the empire?
Didn't they? 1947? 48, I think.
47, 48?
Yeah, roughly that.
And the empire fell apart after that, didn't it? So there has been no empire really since World War II. But anyway, we still have these stupid honours, as we call them, for the hoi polloi, and they can get an earner CBE or an OBE or an MBE, and I don't even know what it means.
Knighted.
Be knighted for your service. Yes.
Yeah, and you become a sir or a dame if you're a woman.
Basically. Yeah. So, as I said, all these people popping up are OBEs, MBEs, CBEs, or knight or sirs or dames or whatever, and it's almost like the royal family are bringing out their black friends, to show the world they're not racist. So, I'm going to ask you, Nelly, what do you think of this phenomenon of all these black people popping up? It
started out with Charles going to that black health. Was it? It was a church, wasn't it? But it was doubling up as like a vaccine and COVID sort of testing place. So he went around there to be seen with all these black people, and then William went to this primary school. Apparently
secondary school it was, wasn't it?
Oh, was it? I can't remember.
Secondary school, yeah. It was secondary school.
It was a school, and the headmistress was a black woman, and he had to be seen to be talking to her, and she be in his presence. And of course, he popped up with that wonderful colonizing saying, "No, my family is definitely not racist," or no, we are not racist. I'm like, okay, so that being said, what a dumbass question to be someone asking that, stupid reporter. Really thought that he got him. But and then it's been hysterical to see all these people with letters after their names popping up and saying this, that, and the other. The most hilarious one is, of course, the one that said, "My friend William is not a racist."
Oh yeah, that one. Yeah,
to me that was the funniest one, because that was like a literal whole ass article, and I'm like, okay, mate, I see what you're doing there.
Wasn't that the guy who he met like 10 years ago?
Yeah, through
something ridiculous. Yeah, Centrepoint.
Yeah.
For people who don't know, Centrepoint is a charity for the homeless in the UK, and it was a charity that Princess Diana was really, really supported, and I think she took.
No, she used to take both of them. She
took William and Harry to Centrepoint, and they did like sleep outs or rough outs, or
Well, I think only William most famously did the rough out.
So what happened? So what basically happened was that he did a night's sleeping rough, so to say. They say so. Sleeping rough, it means in the UK means that you're homeless and you're sleeping on the streets, basically. And I don't know if he did the whole. I don't even know if he did the whole night or did a couple of hours or something.
I couldn't tell you. It wouldn't surprise me if he only did a few hours.
Yeah, I can't remember the whole thing, but anyway, it was blaze of publicity that he did he slept rough one night, and this guy happened to be sleeping rough with him, if you know what I mean. Not like this sounds really awful, actually. It sounds quite disgusting, but that's quite,
Let's just say that, they play acted at being homeless.
Yes, that's the best way to describe it. But the charity itself is brilliant. It does help people who are homeless, and it helps them to find somewhere to live, which is really, really good. So it's a wonderful charity. It's just a shame he's part of it, really. Anyway, this sellout, I was gonna call him something else, popped up and said popped up and said, oh yes, he's my best friend or whatever it is, and there's a picture of him in a very awkward hug type thing.
And you know that picture is old as fuck because William has hair.
Yeah, that's right. That's how old it is. It must be at least 10 years old. It's got to be.
Exactly.
And so they've popped that out to show that William's not a racist and he's got a black friend. Woo.
Yeah, one.
So yeah, all of one. So that is basically what we were saying. So it was just, the whole thing's a farce because the British monarchy is built on racism. I don't know why they're
white supremacy.
and
I mean, literally the day it was announced that Meghan was engaged to Harry, the whites, like the big white supremacists in America, Richard Spencer was crying about it, saying, "Oh, the Saxe-Coburg Goth," not even referring to them as the Windsors, but literally their whole ass real name, the Saxe-Coburg Gotha.
the German, if you didn't know, they're German.
Of course, we know that they're German, but
but the Americans might not know they're, or anybody around the world might not know they're German.
No, but this white supremacist did, which is not surprising. But this is exactly it. The fact that a whole white supremacist is crying about this biracial woman, joining the royal family, he's having a moan about it. And then on top of that, calling them by their, proper name, as I'd like to call it, their real name, and is, having a meltdown about it. It just goes to show you who worships monarchy. That's that's who they are. And so while we're on the subject of America, the American right wing are right there with the British press going in hard on Meghan, and Fox News. We'll talk about it later on in the podcast. But yeah, Fox News and the as I prefer to call her, Meghan Kelly, and all these idiots, these stupid conservative types popping up and talking shit on Meghan, and CNN, y'all can go to hell as far as I'm concerned. But no, it's been absolutely disgusting. To see this fallout over an interview, and they keep talking about, oh, she lied, she's about the secret wedding and all of that. I'm like, just shut up. Even I knew that it wasn't a legally bounding work. It was clearly a blessing. How could I know that? I knew that that's what they were talking about, because obviously the spectacle was never going to be about them. It's a spectacle for this country to pat itself on the back and say, look at us, look how inclusive we are. This lily white institution has a brown girl in the house. They're just like us, our royal family. It was the biggest virtue signal. And the UK, and let's be honest, the UK public, at least the conservative ones for the most part, were patting themselves on the back. This is what when you hear them say, well, we gave her this wonderful wedding and we rolled out the red carpet for her. That's what they're talking about, because these gammons are the ones that are pissed about them fucking off and giving this interview.
Yeah, well, I think yes and no. I think that a lot of people were genuinely happy for them to get married here in the UK. It is, I'm not going to deny it was a spectacle. It was Britain showing itself off and saying that we are very diverse. And it was, there were a lot of people here who were genuinely happy to see them get married. I think that it turned because of the UK press. And we know, as Harry said, there's an invisible contract going on between the royal family and the press, and he wasn't playing that game. And I think that's one of the many reasons why they turned on Meghan, because they knew they couldn't really touch Harry. His Achilles heel is Meghan, and that's the one they went for. But it didn't work. It's backfired spectacularly because they've now gone. So good for them,
Yep, I say, definitely happy about that.
Yeah, I'm definitely pleased they've gone. They've got peace of mind in the US. But yeah, no, it coming back to the point though, I do find it disgusting that all these people were popping out saying, oh, Britain's a lovely country and, you know, blah, blah, blah. And it's all Meghan's fault. Basically, it was all Meghan's fault. That was their response.
Yeah.
And it was really quite sad and pathetic because as a Black Brit, I never heard of half of these people. It was like, who's this one? You know, where did they come from? And why are they suddenly speaking for us? Where were they all this time? Because they were nowhere to be seen. And it's because they've got their OBEs and MBEs and CBEs and all the other E's. They've been called out. They were called out and they have to support the Crown. So they have to say what they need to say. But a lot of them actually meant it because they were all right, Jack, and they pulled the bridge up after them. They don't care about anybody else. So that's just my view. But that's
no. I believe you. A crab in the barrel mentality. These people have,
definitely.
You know? And it was so upsetting. And I mean, we've seen some people who we admire, popping up and saying some, just horrendous shit. And I'm just like, no, you're well. In my mind, they are cancelled.
But remind me of who. There were so many of them, that popped up. I mean, there's one scientist in particular. I've forgotten her name now. Bloody hell, what was it?
Was it the biotechnician woman? She had a double barrel name. But
she
literally said Meghan should stay in America.
That's the one. Yeah. We were like, who is this woman? Where did she come from? But she had it was like, who are you? And she had I think she either had an MBE or a CBE.
She had an MBE.
But suddenly she's talking for every Black person in the country and was like, no, sit down. Who are you?
And when the squad came for her, and obviously lots of gammons were in her mentions, clapping her and telling her, well done, I'm so with you. And she was replying to all of these people, and a lot of them were, Mugsit trolls as well.
Yes.
I'm just like, wow, you're just showing yourself. What a sellout. What a sellout.
So we had all these people popping up. It was horrible.
Yeah.
So, but then after a day or so, they died down. It sort of died down a bit, and they disappeared from the rock they crawled out from. It was a very weird time. It was a very weird time. But these people were being promoted in the right wing press that we have here. And as I keep saying, we didn't know who they were. We honestly didn't know who they were. So, don't believe our press because they're full of shit.
Yep.
To put it mildly. Yeah.
Yep. And obviously, I mean, there's a reason why, our press is, are lifting up these voices. And not only that, it's also very disheartening to see them lifting up these, Black or, Black mixed race conservative young conservative commentators.
There's one I can't stand.
There's several of them. Sandra, it's absolutely disgusting.
Well, there's one in particular, but I'm not going to name him here. But I despise him. I despise him.
Is it the one with the very tough-looking afro?
Yep. not gonna name him, people. You can find him for yourself, but he is truly,
he's truly vile,
truly a sellout and a vile creature. But he's making his money now. He's a bit like I was gonna say her name wrong. I'm not even gonna mention her name.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
CO. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, CO.
Because I was going to say it the way I shouldn't say it, but I'm not going to say her name properly here. He's like almost like her, and he's vile. That's all I'm going to say. Absolutely vile.
And I think that leads us on into our next topic, because there are several of people like him, or at least the older versions of him, that had something to do with this government report.
Yes, so we had published a Commission on Race and Ethnic Disparities report, which was commissioned by this government with our clown Prime Minister, because of the Black Lives Matters protests that we had here in the UK over the summer. And that was related to the George Floyd Black Lives Matters protests that were in the US over the summer last year as well. And to dig himself out of a hole, the clown that we have as our Prime Minister decided to commission this report, and it was to look at race and ethnic disparities. So this report was published on the 31st of March, and it looked at all aspects of society in the UK. So education, health, policing, the economy, you name it, it looked at it. So we all knew it was going to be shit. We all knew it was going to be shit. But what shocked us more was how bad it was. Okay. So this commission concluded, I'm going to read the quote because I can't believe it myself personally. It concluded that the UK was not yet, in quote, Mark's quotes, a post-racial country, end quote, but should be regarded as, quote, a model for other white majority countries, end quote, citing achievements towards equality in sectors of education and economy. That is total and utter shite. I don't know. I honestly don't know who wrote this report. I don't know what planet they live on. But to say that the UK is not institutionally racist, they must have their head up somebody's arse so far that they don't know what's going on. It left Black people in the UK speechless.
Well, no. Some Black people speechless. Let's be real and honest, because some of them were overjoyed with this particular report. But then, yeah, I'm tired. I'm just so tired. Yeah, it's not a surprise with the people that were on this panel. Tony Sewell. Is it Dr. Tony Sewell? Or
that's right. Dr. Tony Sewell, yeah.
A man who, with his whole chest, said there's no institutional racism. Munira Mirza, a Asian woman with her whole chest, and it should also be noted is she is married to someone not within the cabinet, but she's married to someone that is, I can't remember his name, but he works closely with Boris Johnson. So there's that. Again, someone that literally with her whole chest says that there is no institutional racism, and has written tons of these really ridiculous articles for the likes of The Spectator and the Times, saying that we should just basically turn the other cheek and just accept racism as a fact of life. No, Munira, I will not. I'm not, I myself, and I'm sure a lot of other Black people aren't the turn the other cheek type. Because we're
definitely not.
No. Are you fucking mad? No.
No,
but this is the thing. The report had tons of commissioners on there had that mindset. Of course, if we're going to come out and say that there was no institutional racism, that was a foregone conclusion the minute I saw those faces, up on there. And we've had several government commissions. There was the one that wasn't it Lammy? David Lammy did one a while ago, and that was what, 5 years ago or
yeah.
I can't remember.
David Lemmy is an MP, a member of Parliament here, and
Labour MP should be said.
Yes, a Labour MP, sorry, and he was part of a commission where he made 35 recommendations to improve racial equality in the UK, and 5 years later, nothing.
None of them
have been implemented at all. So this whole report was just an absolute disgrace. And the worst thing about it was that they attached names to this report and said they consulted them, and it wasn't true.
Nope.
And you had these people coming up on Twitter saying, my name's on this report. I didn't do anything. They didn't talk to me. Why's my name on it? It's it's utter shit. It's shite. I've never. I mean, I've read bits of it, and it's disgraceful. And how those black people can put their names to it, they should be ashamed of themselves. They really, really should. So I don't know where we're going to go in this country, but if you've got people like that supposed to be speaking for us, we're done.
We're fucked. We are utterly fucked. And there's no, there's it's sell out or get out. That's basically the what's being that's the message. That's the message. Sell out or get out.
I mean, how can people say there's no institutional racism in this country when black people are stopped and searched 3 times more than white people?
Yep, and on top of that, we are black people. We are what, 3% of the population, but we are
something like that. Yeah.
Yep, we're overrepresented in the prison population. We're also overrepresented for missing persons as well. Obviously, we had that tragedy with Richard Okarigi, but all of that started with police negligence. His mother went to the police and said, and said, I need help to find my son. And they told this woman, well, if you can't find him, how do you expect us to find him?
Absolutely disgraceful. And I mean, even in health, even in healthcare, black women will die. Was it 5 times more likely to die in childbirth than a white woman? What the fuck what's going on? Do you know what I mean? How can that be? And they're talking about there's no institutional racism. It was unbelievable. So don't think that we don't know what's going on. And don't think we're quiet. We're not quiet. We're actually, as black people in this country, we do speak out. It's just that we have a right-wing press. And until people understand that, the right-wing press own and control everything.
Yep.
They can drown out our voices.
Drown out our miseries.
Exactly. We can have our own little podcasts and stuff and make our own platforms. That's why we need to do this. It's because we're not heard. And when we do make up a fuss, they don't publish it, so people don't hear it. It's like that saying, if a tree falls in the forest, just because you can't hear it doesn't mean that it hasn't happened.
Fall, yeah.
So it's just really annoying. It's like, it almost feels like, my mum says it's like we're going back to the 1970s, and it was bad in the 1970s for black people over here. Let's put it that way. Oh. And she says that's how she feels at the moment. That's how awful it is, So it's not good. It's not good at all. So anyway, we had this, as I said, this ridiculous commission report that even now our clown of a prime minister is backing off from, because it was so bad. It's been derided.
Bad, yeah.
It's been derided by everybody, and now he's backing away from it. So, those sellouts who said there was no racism here, what's happened to you? He chucked you under the bus, mate.
As he always does. He has a tendency to do that, especially if things prove to be unpopular. We're talking about a man who, how many U-turns has this government made?
Oh,
I mean, come on. So, man. It's gross, and I'm glad that we can shout about this and forget about it, as we should.
Yeah,
the report, that is.
Yeah, nothing's going to come of it. It's just he's backing away from it now. They're gonna bury it now, and then we'll see what happens later on. But it just shows how bad this country is going at the moment. It's not good here. It really isn't. It's just not good. It's really depressing. So anyway, with that, let's move on to our next topic, which is the death of Prince Philip, the Duke of Edinburgh. So before we start, let me make one thing very clear. It's always sad when somebody dies, okay? I'm not the type of person who's going to vilify somebody when they're, freshly dead. So I'm going to put it out here now. So I'm not going to be slagging off Prince Philip. I know what he is. I know what he was. But now's not the time for me. This is my personal opinion. Now's not the time for me to be saying shit about him. Okay? Because the man has just died. Yeah? Because I know from when my grandparents died, I would not appreciate anybody saying crap about me, about them. It's not the time for me. I will say my piece later on when it is the time, but I'm not going to do it now. And that's how I roll. So if people don't like it, that's their business, but that's how I roll. Okay. So I'm putting that out straight before we even start. Okay. So, as you know, Prince Philip died on Friday, last Friday. And what I want to talk about in this section is the reaction of the UK press and the royal family, and how they pivoted to Meghan and Harry. Bearing in mind, it's Prince Philip who died. Okay, so let's first of all talk about the BBC. The mouthpiece of the government we have here. Okay. It's a propaganda machine. It really is. It's very sad to watch the BBC now. They have been bullied and put into this position. It's absolutely ridiculous. But anyway, they're a public service broadcaster. So we, the people, the taxpayer, pays for them. So we have a license fee, basically, that we pay every year to watch our public service channels. So I think it is, how much do we pay now? Is it 100?
I forgot.
I paid it the other month. I think it's about 150 pounds a year we pay to watch, the TV, BBC. That's our license, our TV license. And basically the government we have now is threatening the BBC. They're threatening to take away the license fee, so they'll have no money. They're doing all sorts of things to them. So because they want to get their money and want to keep in with the government, they'll do whatever they need to do to keep their license fee. I'm not lying, am I, Nelly? I'm not lying.
Nope.
Yeah, that's how it works in the UK with the BBC. So the BBC is a public service broadcaster, and so is Channel 4. That gets money out the license fee as well. But Channel 4 has a bit of a backbone, so they're slightly different. Anyway, that's the background behind it. So when Prince Philip died, the BBC decided to cancel all of their scheduled programming. So what they did was BBC One, which is off BBC One and BBC Two, they both broadcast the same thing from, I don't know, for the whole day.
It was almost the whole day. It literally was the whole day.
Yeah. So they both broadcast exactly the same thing. And then we've got another channel called BBC Four, which comes on in the evening. And it comes on like about 7 o'clock in the evening, and it stops at about, 3 o'clock in the morning, whatever it is. They took it off air. They just completely took it off air. And, out of a mark of respect, and was like, what? Right. So that's BBC, the TV channels. Then BBC Radio.
Oh my God.
BBC radios, there's like loads of BBC radio channels. They were only allowed to play like soft music, they couldn't play anything. It was like being in probably North Korea. It was terrible. It was ridiculous.
So bad. Oh my Lord.
Oh my God. And so, that's what we had. So, and then ITV, which is the independent television channel that we have, did the same thing. They basically cleared their schedules and broadcast their version of, stuff for Prince Philip or whatever. So anyway, it was really, really weird. Anyway, So if the establishment thought that they were going to get a real round of applause for doing that, you know, to show how devoted they are to the monarchy and all that sort of stuff, they were sadly mistaken, because somebody did an analysis of the viewing figures, and they said that compared to last Friday, the Friday before, which was the 2nd of April, the viewing figures were down dramatically, because I don't mean to be mean, but nobody cared. Literally, they were more interested in seeing Coronation Street and
Coronation Street.
EastEnders and Emmerdale, there are soaps, than they were hearing about Prince Philip. It was really ridiculous. Anyway, as a result of this, there were over 100,000 complaints to the BBC saying they went over the top with this and they wanted to watch their TV. It was just absolutely ridiculous. So in response, Channel 4, which is the other publicly funded channel, they didn't cancel all of their broadcasts, and they did a bit tribute to Prince Philip, which is fair enough. But they did put their TV, they put some programs on, and basically I think their viewing figures wasn't as bad as what the other channels were. So this is what we had here. It was truly ridiculous. So everybody just went on and watched Netflix and you know, Amazon Prime and you name it, Sky, whatever.
Yeah, I had stuff recorded from the TV. I was watching that shit, right? And this is the thing, yeah. So basically, this is a soft rehearsal for when, knock on wood, old Lizzie goes.
Yeah, they've been planning this for years.
Whew, Lord,
planning this for decades. I don't think people understand. They have been planning this for decades. I mean, they've been doing dress rehearsals and all sorts of stuff. But they didn't expect the backlash that they got. I think they're realizing that people aren't as deferential as they were before. And this is not a Diana 2.0 situation. You've got to remember that Prince Philip was 99 years old. Right? He was an old man. It was going to happen sooner or later. There's no denying it. You know, he was 99 years old. With Princess Diana, it was completely different. She was 36. It was a it was a sudden car accident. People were genuinely shocked. I mean, being here when that happened, it was shocking when Diana died. And I remember when I shouldn't laugh, but I do remember when Diana died, and I came down in the morning because it was, you know, she had died like 5 o'clock in the morning, British summertime. And I came down in the morning and my mum was downstairs. Everyone was downstairs and like everyone was having a cup of tea and whatever, and the TV was on. And I was going, what's happened? What's happened? And I remember mum saying, watch. So I sat down, I was like, they were all dressed in black on TV like they always do. And I went, oh, it's the Queen Mother. And she just looked at me and went, no. And then it popped up that Diana died. And I literally had to sit down. I was so shocked. This is not the same situation. We knew it was coming.
Yeah.
So it's really quite ridiculous. The reaction that the press is trying to manufacture, and that's what it is.
And I love that the press are saying, well, everyone is feeling this. Everyone. I'm like, who the fuck is everyone? I just had a conversation with my neighbor who is a decade younger than I am. You know, she's younger than me. She's in her she's in her mid-20s. And she was like, yeah, heard about it. And you know, it's just a case of like, whatever. It was gonna happen. The man was nearly 100 years old. He has seen some shit. He has lived a life of unimaginable privilege, to start. And, and everyone expected it. I just do not know why. I just don't understand why the media are trying to gin up are trying to gin up sympathy.
No, I don't even think it's sympathy. I think they're just trying to sell paper.
Trying to sell paper. Was it the Daily Mail or someone like that? Had like 141 pages or something ridiculous.
Yeah,
for Sunday.
It's literally page after page. Any paper. I don't buy papers anymore. Let's be honest about this. I don't buy papers, but when you go into the shops and whatever, and you see, especially that weekend, the papers were just like having supplements and inside them, and it was like literally page after page after page after page of Prince Philip, and in every newspaper. It was really I understand that they need to. He's been around for a long time, but it's becoming a bit unnatural. Yeah, it's becoming a bit unnatural. Yeah,
it's too much.
And also, go on. Sorry.
No, it was too much, and just an oversaturation of it as well, and just almost this expectation that people were going to go into this. As you said, they were expecting a Diana type of mourning for this man. It's not going to happen, because for the most part, no, it was not going to happen, because for the most part he was old and he was dodgy. Not dodgy. No.
He was we know what he was. Here in the UK, we know what he was. We know what he said. We know what he did. I'm not going to deny that, because it's true. What people are saying about him, it is true.
And on top of that, but the insidious thing about it was just the whitewashing of it.
Exactly.
That was the most insidious part of it, more than anything, that I found gross.
And to be honest, people are, this sounds wicked, and it's not wicked, they're not bothered.
Yeah.
And that's the truth. People here are not really, how can I put it? They're like, oh, it's a shame for the Queen, because her husband of 73 years is gone.
Yeah.
And they understand. Most people have lost, a father or a grandfather, or a close relation like that, or
exactly.
So they understand how it feels to lose somebody like that, and they feel sorry in that respect. But their life is not over, and they're not going to be mourning in Kensington Palace.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, Kensington Palace Gardens. So it's completely different, and the press here are trying to manufacture that everyone's like can't, they're on the ground crying and wailing and screaming. And that's not happening.
No,
it's just not happening. So it's very weird to be here at the moment, because you've got press trying to whip it up and say, you should be mourning more and all the rest of it, and the general public are like,
no.
Okay, all right, mate. And they got, let's go to work, or whatever,
Did you see that video of it was two women, I think it was Joe TV or Joe.co.uk, and it was these two women, and they were walking through like Kensington Palace, or not Kensington, but around
St James's Park. Yeah,
was it St James's Park? Yeah. And the guy asked, the guy said, "Oh, Prince Philip died." I was like, "Oh." Their literal reaction was like, "Oh, well, I was seeing all these people, but I thought it was like Meghan and Harry or something."
Yeah. And that is a reaction of a lot of people. They're like, "Oh, yeah, that's sad, isn't it?
Yeah.
Let's go shopping."
Yeah, literally. And the guy said the next thing was like, "Oh, you're going to go and pay your respects?" It was like, "We'll walk through, and then we're going to go about our day." I was just like,
and that is literally how people are reacting, and they're not being rude, they're just being, it's like, it's a matter of fact,
Yeah. And let's not forget, it's not like he was in the public eye for, he's retired. He retired from royal duties 4 years ago, and I mean, last we heard of him was obviously he had, recently had his surgery, but then he also had that car crash.
About 2 years ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was 2 years ago. That's where he had. They were like, "Yeah, you can't drive anymore, sir."
Basically, yeah.
Yeah. So he's been out of the public eye, apart from those instances, for about 4 years, and sadly, this is the only way he was going to come back into public consciousness, through his death, and that was the only thing that was going to bring him to mind in the public, because dude was almost a century old.
Yeah, 2 months short, wasn't he?
Yeah.
2 months short. So, there you go. So anyway,
but R.I.P.
With that, and I would say it to anybody, because it's always sad when somebody dies.
Yeah,
especially, you think of. I personally think of how my family reacted when my grandfather died. So that's where I'm coming from. I'm not coming from I'm a royalist or a monarchist or anything. I'm coming as a human being.
Yeah,
people are genuinely upset about losing that person. I may not have liked him, but it doesn't mean I'm not gonna,
No, and from a very human level, I feel for the Queen, because this is someone that she's been in love with since she was 13 years old. Someone she was determined to marry, and she got him, and they had 73 years together, and 4 kids, who, well, she loved to varying degrees, but that's it.
I'm not going to fawn anymore. Okay, that's enough. that's enough now. Come on.
Yeah.
But as I said, as a woman who's 94 and she'd lost her partner of 73 years, I can respect that.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm not going to run it down.
Yeah.
So, but as I said, people won't agree with me, and that's they absolutely can do. That's how they feel. That's perfectly entitled to their feelings, but that's how I roll, and I don't do that sort of thing. So that's all I'm saying. There's a time and a place, and it's not the time and the place at the moment for me to be talking shit. So there you go. Anyway, so with that, because the UK press are the way they are, the attention immediately switched to Meghan and Harry. The focus changed from that. Bearing in mind that Prince Philip was the one who died. Suddenly, it stopped being about Prince Philip and it started being about Meghan and Harry. And it was like, would they come to the funeral? Would he come to the funeral with all the issues with his other brother? Would she come to the funeral? Now, anyone with a bit of common sense would have known that Meghan wouldn't have been able to travel for the funeral. She is probably, 8 months pregnant, 7 or 8 months pregnant.
Yeah, I have a
and it's high risk, and it's a high risk pregnancy as well. She miscarried last year, less than a year ago. She ain't getting on the plane. Common sense will tell you that. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know why they were trying to manufacture again this thing to try and get her to come over. No, her priority is her baby and her health, and going on the plane for 12 hours is not a good thing, especially with the high risk pregnancy. So common sense would have told you that one. I didn't doubt for a second that Harry would not come over for the funeral. I didn't doubt. I knew he'd come. It's his grandfather.
It's his grandfather.
So it was like, yeah, of course he's going to come over. But it was the way the press have spun it, like it's literally like Harry is going to be the next king. It's ridiculous what they're doing. So anyway, we found out on Sunday night that Harry would be attending. No surprise there, and that he is in the UK and he's currently self-isolating. So what do you think about the whole hoo-ha of whether he's coming or not? It was ridiculous.
It's bullshit. It was always going to happen, wasn't it? I mean, when we knew that this was going to be a game that the British media were going to play, in that oh, is he? Are they going to come over? Are they going to come over? Are
Mm.
they going to reconcile with the
Mm.
rest of the royal family? Are they going to apologize for the Oprah interview? Are they going to do this? Are they going to that? Y'all can eat a bag of dicks. He ain't gonna do shit. He's just there for the funeral. I hope he does his self isolation, goes to the funeral, and goes back to his family, and go back to his
Yeah,
family in America. You know,
yeah, because that's where his
because
family is now.
that is where his family is. It's been irritating as hell to see just absolutely vile, disgusting things the usual suspects have been writing, saying, well, Harry, here's your chance, to make things up with your family, and we can
Shouldn't it be the
overlook
other
the
way around?
we
Shouldn't it be
can
the other way
no,
around?
no, or they can overlook all the mistakes that you've made. I'm like, what do you mean mistakes? Are you talking about Meghan and Archie?
Yeah,
Because
that's what they're trying to
that's
say. Yeah,
yeah,
that's what they're trying to say.
and in which case y'all can fuck off,
Yeah,
you know.
because they're not
So
mistakes. I think that's the best. Those Megan was the best thing he ever did. She's the best
best thing,
thing for him. You
yeah,
know what I mean?
best thing that's ever happened to him.
Yeah.
And no, it's been absolutely vile. But I knew that he was going to go, because
Yeah, we
at the
all
end of the
did.
day, whether look, based on we've got feelings on the royal family and all of that,
Mm,
but at the end of the day, it is a family unit. That man was his granddad. Harry was
mm.
going to go over there regardless, and I'm glad that I'm personally I'm happy that he's going to go, because I think it would be, yes, as someone who I can relate, because I missed I was living over here and I was not able to go to my grandparents lived, my paternal grandparents, they lived in Jamaica,
Mm,
and I couldn't attend any of their funerals, and I'm
mm.
haunted by that, you know.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
so
So I feel,
it's
yeah, I was lucky because my grandparents were here, so I could go to their funerals. That was bad enough, but
yeah,
to not be able to go to their funerals is going to be horrible. Do you
yeah,
know what I mean?
yeah.
Really horrible. So, um, and also I want to add in, we're in the middle of a pandemic. Who's
We
flying anywhere in the pandemic?
Yeah, exactly. And it's just been gross to see a lot of the headlines saying, leaving out the fact that Meghan is heavily pregnant. She has suffered, well, heavily pregnant, and is advised by her doctors not to travel. Which is just which is obvious,
Mm,
because like we know that if you're over 36 weeks, you can't travel on a
there you
plane.
go.
You
Yeah,
know, so
yeah.
just to see all of
It's,
this, but it's also hilarious to see the fan fiction writer coming back, some fan fiction written about her, apparently saying, oh, friends of Meghan have spoken to the Daily Mail, the
oh,
Daily Mail
really?
that she's sued,
Yeah.
um
Okay. Yeah, we'll
and
believe that one.
yeah, saying that, oh, she didn't want to go because she didn't want to be the center of attention, as if any self-respecting friend of Meghan is going to be talking to the Daily Mail. Fuck off.
Exactly. So the whole thing, it was just truly ridiculous. So that's what we had here on, what day was it? So he died on Friday.
I mean,
Friday, no, it's
it's
Saturday.
Tuesday now,
Yeah, it's
and
Tuesday now. So that was Friday. So it must have been mostly Saturday we had, will they come in the funeral? Won't they be coming to the funeral? Blah, blah, blah. So then, so Harry's here. It's Sunday night, and he's announced that um he will be he'll when he attends the funeral, he'll be wearing a suit and not military uniform. Now, I've seen a lot of people on social media saying, "Oh, he should wear his uniform. Um, he's an ex-soldier and all that sort of stuff." So, for people who don't get it, in the UK, when you're an ex-serviceman, a veteran, um, the convention is that they don't, when they are ex-servicemen, they don't wear their military uniform once they've left the service. Because apparently, I mean, I only learned this the other day. Apparently, they feel it's disrespectful to serving servicemen who are wearing the uniform. So what they do is when they have like a formal occasion where the military are there, or they need to, it's a formal ceremony thing. The men and women will wear a suit, and they will wear their medals, and if they've got headgear, as they call it, or headdress, they will wear their berets or whatever it is from their regiment that they're, or the service that they're from. And that is their way of showing respect for another soldier or naval person or sailor or an airman. So that's what they do. Now, the reason why the toy soldiers are wearing their uniforms when the funeral happens on Saturday is because, although they're not real soldiers or real naval sailors or airmen, they have got honorary titles of being colonel-in-chief of this regiment or that regiment. So therefore, they are entitled to wear the uniform of that regiment, and then they can put on their toy medals. Harry is different. Harry, because he stepped away from being a senior member of the royal family, and he is no longer a serviceman, he's an ex-serviceman now. Under our convention in the UK, what the servicemen do, he will not be wearing a uniform. So he'll wear a suit with his medals if he wants to. And that's basically how it goes in the UK. Now, I know around the world, other countries allow their ex-servicemen to wear their uniforms. That's perfectly fine. And that's the convention of your country. But over here, that's why he's going to be wearing a suit, unless the Queen gives him back his honorary title before the service, and then he can wear the uniform if he chooses to. But he said he's going to wear a suit, and I respect him for it. Good on him. He's going to be like other ex-servicemen in this country, and he's proud of it. So good for him.
Yeah.
So that explains that, I hope.
Yeah, no, I understood that, and but I can't help but feel some type of way about it, because the toy soldiers, as you call them, rightly so, especially ones who never seen active service. I'm looking at you, Teddy and Bulliam. Yeah, and her. Yeah, I just it hurts, but I understand it and I respect it. I respect it, but I'm not gonna lie, I will feel some type of way about it.
I'm not, because I know servicemen in the UK and they're proud of him. And he's doing what they're doing. That's what, if they had to go to a formal service. If you look at Remembrance, and this classic example is Remembrance Sunday, not last year because we had the pandemic, but all the years before, when you see all those ex-soldiers or ex-servicemen marching past the cenotaph, look at what they're wearing.
They were wearing their medals.
They're wearing their medals. They're all in suits. That's what ex-servicemen do. So I'm not going to be upset about it, because he served.
Yeah.
2 tours of Afghanistan. He's going to be there. He's going to be like an ex-serviceman. He's going to have his medals on if he wants to wear them, and he'll be proud. So I don't feel bad, because I know he served, and he's showing he served. So yeah, good on him. That's all I can say. Good on him. And then finally, we're going to come to the royal family have been releasing loads of statements about how they have been affected by the death of Prince Philip. And on Saturday, it was Prince Charles, the Prince of Wales, who released his statement to the press. On Sunday, it was his remaining children. So that was Princess Anne, Prince Edward, and that other one.
The other one.
Yeah, I'm not even going to mention his name.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. Could not believe it.
Yeah, the other one. And he's out there. He's got no shame, No shame at all.
The ego on that man.
Exactly. You can see how excited he was to be in front of the camera. Oh, he was... Oh, I don't like that man at all.
No.
Anyway. And then yesterday, which was Monday, it was his grandchildren. Well, 2 of them. So William released... Sorry. William released his statement
Tobias.
first. Yeah, was it? Yeah, first.
We have so many names for him.
Yes.
It's hilarious.
And then Harry released his statement a couple of hours afterwards. So I'm going to read both statements to you, and I want you to give me your opinion of these statements, because anyway, let me read the first one. So anyway, the first one is from William, and he wrote, "My grandfather's century of life was defined by service to his country and the Commonwealth, and to his wife and Queen, and to our family. I feel lucky to have not just had his example to guide me, but his enduring presence well into my own adult life, both through the good times and the hardest days. I will always be grateful that my wife had so many years to get to know my grandfather, and for the kindness he showed her. I will never take for granted the special memories my children will always have of their great grandpa, coming to collect them in his carriage and seeing for themselves his infectious sense of adventure as well as his mischievous sense of humour. My grandfather was an extraordinary man and part of an extraordinary generation. Catherine and I will continue to do what he would have wanted and will support the Queen in the years ahead. I will miss my grandpa, but I know that he would want us to get on with the job." So that's his statement. Then I'm going to read out Harry's statement. I know, I got to take a deep breath after that one. Okay. This is Harry's statement. "My grandfather was a man of service, honor and great humor. He was authentically himself, with a seriously sharp wit, and could hold the attention of any room due to his charm, and also because you never knew what he might say next. He will be remembered as the longest serving consort to the monarch, a decorated serviceman, a prince and a duke. But to me, like many of you who've lost a loved one or a grandparent over the pain of this last year, he is my grandpa. Master of the barbecue, legend of banter, and cheeky right to the end. He has been a rock for Her Majesty the Queen with unparalleled devotion, by her side for 73 years of marriage. And while I could go on, I know right now he would say to all of us, beer in hand, oh, do get on with it. So on that note, Grandpa, thank you for your service, your dedication to Granny, and for always being yourself. You will be sorely missed, but always remembered by the nation and the world. Meghan, Archie, and I, as well as your future great-granddaughter, will always hold a special place in our hearts. Per mare, per teram." And basically, that's the statement from Harry. So, what do you think?
Well, let's start with Harry's. I thought that Harry's was heartfelt and was it humanized Philip, and for the you know, I would say both Harry and Princess Anne's statement, I felt humanized him. Harry's is of course the best one, period. Just it just made me feel, like, huh, he was human and he sounded like an absolutely amazing guy. And then I remember all the shit he does, and I'm like, yeah. Sorry. So he humanized him for about 5 minutes for me. And but no, it was, I mean, that more than anything was a tribute from a grandson to to his grandfather, who he loved very much. And obviously they had so much in common, and that sign off there was from was it
The Royal Marines.
Royal Marines.
That's their
That's the motto, by land, by
yeah.
sea, I believe.
By sea, by land.
By sea, by land, that's their motto. And yeah, I mean, it's once a soldier, always a soldier, and that was Philip, and that was Harry. And it's very clear that they had an amazing bond. And I also love that he mentioned that, he's speaking, that he's, that statement was on behalf of him, Harry's family, Meghan, Archie, and the little one on the way. And that was very important because people get lost. I mean, not I say people get lost. What I'm seeing a lot of today, especially after the statement was released, is the erasure of that section of Harry saying that Meghan, that the mention of his family, which is really gross. And no, it's I thought it was very heartfelt and came from a good place. As for the other one, William, it started strong, I must say. I was like, okay, right, yeah, you and Catherine, yeah, I mean, you guys were together for ages, so of course he would, she would get to know him very well and all of that. Blah 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 blah. And then you get to the final bit when he talks about service and all of that, and I'm just like, now that seems like a bit of a dig.
Yeah.
At Harry, and I'm
Yeah.
like, of all the times to be doing this, you're using your tribute to your grandfather to have a barb at a barb at your brother. Fuck
It's
you.
ridiculous. It
Fuck
was
you.
petty.
Yeah,
It
fuck
was
you forever,
it
William.
was
I mean, the fact that it was Robert Lacey, even he said, "Oh, that was very pointed," and to use your, even he's had to say that, yeah, that is very strong, and I don't think there's going to be much of a reconciliation
oh
at
god
this
no.
funeral. Of course, if there fucking isn't going to be a reconciliation, look at
Yeah.
everything that's happened, you know, and obviously we haven't talked about it or mentioned it, but apparently, like, William has cut Tom Bradby loose. But the fact that William is, just because he seemingly sides with Harry, for William to end his so-called friendship with him, it's hysterical and just shows how petty and small this man is. And I'm like, motherfucker, I do not want you to be king. I do not want you to see any throne. The only throne I want you sitting on is the one that you shit in, okay? And leave it at that.
I I I actually I liked Princess Anne's statement. I thought
It
it was
was, yeah.
really it was really it was you could tell she's his favorite,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
you could tell from that. But I thought again, like I thought it was very humanizing. I liked it. It was short and sweet. It was Princess Anne. That's
Yeah.
their style. Harry, I said it on Twitter. I just when I read it, I just thought, what a sweet boy. What an absolutely sweet boy. It
Yeah.
was such a lovely thing to say. And as you said, you could see it was a lovely relationship between the two of them. It's, it's like we have our relationships with our grandparents, there's, you know, all of them, all my grandparents I loved anyway. But, but your relationship with each grandparent is different, you know.
Yeah.
And you can see that his relationship with his grandfather was very, very special. And that was really, it was nice. It was really nice to see that. And like you said, it humanized him, and you saw him as a granddad, you know. Um, but as I said before, it doesn't change what he did. It doesn't change what he said. But yeah, as I said, I thought it was a lovely statement. I thought it was really good. I thought Princess Anne's statement was absolutely fabulous as well. And the fact that you can notice I'm not saying anything about the other one, because I thought it was actually quite shy. I thought it was all about me. It was literally
Yeah.
me, me,
Me.
me, me,
It
me.
was very memey. It was
Yeah.
very,
And he's forgot again, another one who's forgot who has died. It's not about you, mate. It's about your
yeah.
granddad.
Yeah.
Um,
The other thing that I loved about Harry's statement was also the fact that he acknowledged how everyone else throughout the world, and has lost, their loved ones, lost their,
yeah.
grandparents, in this pandemic, and
Mm,
obviously cannot mourn them in the way that we would traditionally mourn them because of this pandemic.
mm.
I love that he acknowledged that. Whereas the other one, yeah, It was all about him. It was all about his family. You know,
It was
I
just,
mean, yeah,
it was just
he is well. I mean, for me, okay, basically, those statements reflected both men. And
exactly.
it reflected their personalities.
Yeah.
And William is very much about himself, about
Yeah.
his wife, about his kids, and
He's
nothing.
self-centered. Yeah.
Yeah,
You know, he thinks the universe revolves around him,
yeah,
and it don't. You know, and then you've got the complete polar opposite, who was thinking about his grandfather who died, thinking about other people who'd lost people this year, who'd also lost a grandparent. Um, it was human. It was just, this is what you do. This is how you talk about your grandparent you've missed, you've loved. You don't, it's not corporate. It was from the heart, So that's the way I can describe these two statements. One was run by for a corporate media, and one was a personal statement, and that's how I feel about it. So, it was at such a sad time. It was such a nice thing to write.
yeah.
Whether you like the man or not, it was a nice thing to write. So, and as I said, I didn't particularly like the man, so but there you go. But so I'm just waiting to see what's going to happen next, because it's only Tuesday. We've got until Saturday.
And I'm already fucking sick of everything right now. I'm just looking at as I'm speaking to you right now, I'm already seeing the front page of the Daily Mail.
Why do you look at it?
No. I'm looking. I'm on the TL. I'm on the Twitter TL, and it's it's the that Neil Henderson who shows you the front page and stuff. I'm like, whatever.
But even then, I haven't looked at. I look at the Daily Mail. When do I look at the Daily Mail? By accident, basically. I don't really go.
I don't click on it. I don't go into I don't give them clicks. No,
not even that. But when people send you screenshots of the front page of the Daily Mail or whatever, I don't even look at them anymore, because I know what it's going to say. I know what it's going to do. I just keep rolling, because we know what they're like. We know their agenda. We know they've got it in for Meghan and Harry. Whatever they do is going to be wrong. Literally. You can forecast.
Even Alison Hammond, today was saying, so basically saying, like, I wish people just left Harry alone, because it's very clear that nothing he'll do will ever be right with people. He will never do anything right in the eyes of people. I just wish people leave him alone. That was Alison Hammond on this morning. But this is what we expect going forward. And should there be any more deaths happening, because listen, this is all you're going to hear, deaths of royals at this point.
Oh god, yeah, because they're all the ones around the Queen's age, third generation. They're all in their 80s and 90s. It's just a matter of time now. So that sounds wicked, but it's not. But that's what it is now. They're up in their 80s and 90s, and that's what's going to happen. And that's the situation that we're in at the moment. We need to get used to that idea. So, but there you go. So that's what we've had so far, and it's only Tuesday night, so we don't know what's coming tomorrow. Or the rest of the week. But as I said, I'm not watching basically TV. I'm on Netflix most of the time now. Amazon Prime.
I'm not watching any. I'm not watching any news or anything like that.
Or I go onto Freeview and find some old retro 1970s thing. That's me. Find a disaster movie. Like the Tower in Inferno or Poseidon Adventure. I'm happy.
Shit, yes,
I'm happy. So once I can find them sort of things, I'm sweet. So I'm sorted for the week. But it's just what's going to happen next. What's going to happen next. So I think at that point, I think we should end it, because it's been going on for a long time.
Yeah.
Long one.
Great talking to you.
It's been like it's been like a telephone conversation. I just hope everyone else enjoys it. Our ramblings of what's going on. So anyway, okay. So that's it for this episode. Thank you so much for listening, and thank you, Nelly, for joining me. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have.
My pleasure.
That's all right. Don't forget to send in questions and or topics that you would like to have discussed on future episodes. If you'd like to be a guest panelist on the podcast, please reach out to me at hello@aduchesslikeus.com on email, or DM me at duchessus on Twitter. If you like what you've heard today, please hit the like and subscribe button and subscribe to our podcast. And also, can you share this episode with anybody else who you think might be interested in listening to this? If you have time, I'd be grateful if you could leave me a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, as it helps more people see and get access to the podcast. I really hope that you've enjoyed this episode and that you'll come back for more. So I'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.